Hey there, I am making this video for you all to kind of give you some context, sorry, and some help for how do we do this whole sharing on social media thing without it taking over our lives. And so these last few weeks, as you all know, I listen to the Monday motivations. I love them. And they all kind of share the way they do it. And the way my trainer at corporate says is that our job is to take everything we're given and to funnel it through what works for us. And so what I've done is I have funneled some really good training into not so much what works for me, but what I think would be a great way to explain what the sharing system looks like and how much time a day to do this to be effectively being consistent. Because what you have to remember is that results from anything that you start are not going to be seen for 90 days. And that means 90 days of everyday consistency. Okay, so if you go real hard for 2 weeks and you post and you're consistent for 2 weeks and then you fall off, you're not going to end up with the results that you want. And you're going to get frustrated. And so we can't start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. And I understand that it gets overwhelming because we think there are so many people I want to share with. So how can we simplify this so where it's small bites every day, so you can be doing this every day, so in 90 days you can kind of see the fruits of this. Okay, and so this first training, I'm sharing my screen with you because this gal, her name is Amber Miller, she's a diamond. She did a great talk on how to connect through social. And so if you want, screenshot this, and I can when I post this on our page, I'll put these images below. But she talks about what she does in a 4-week pattern. Okay, so week 1, which this week, if you're watching this week, I would encourage you to do this now. Create a list of 10 to 15 people, and you could just make it 10 to be easy or 15, whichever you choose. Okay. You're going to write those names down wherever. So like I did this the other day, and I have a notebook where I write everything down. And so I wrote down these names, and these are the names I was focusing on all last week. And what do I mean by focus? I mean that on social media, so if I chose to work 5 out of the 7 days of the week, then I'm going to break down my 10 to 15 people over 5 days. So I had 15 people, which means 3 people on my 5 work days I was intentionally focusing on. I was going into their Facebook page or their Instagram feed, and I was commenting and liking their things, and then maybe if I saw something, I was sending a message. Okay, so she says week 1, create it. I'm telling you that you can create it and get started if you want. Okay, so create your list. Who should your list be? It can be anybody. Go through your Facebook contacts and maybe think, I haven't talked with them for a while, I'd like to reconnect. And really what you're doing is you're starting off and you're trying to genuinely create relationship with people, because this is a relationship business. Take interest in them. No one cares what you know until they know you care. So show that you care and genuinely care. And then so she kind of breaks it down. You've got that in week 1. And week 2, now you're going to connect with those people. Just what I said. You're going to connect by messaging them, liking their posts, making comments on their posts, things like that. Okay, and then you're going to add 10 to 15 more. So every week you are adding 10 to 15 more people from your list, and you're gonna keep it. And I would just date it. Like, when did I create this list, and what week was I focusing on this list? Then in week 3, you're gonna do this again. Okay, you're gonna add 10 to 15 more people, keep connecting, and then by week 4, you are now going to look towards maybe messaging the people from week 1 using the send, share, invite system. And I will teach you more about that later. Okay, but right now I want you to really focus on starting this idea of taking 10 to 15 people a week, being very intentional with them. Because when you're intentional with people on social media and you like their posts and you comment, what happens is that your posts are now showing up in their feed. If you're creating content and you're sharing about your life and you're sharing about Plexus, you're going to show up in their feed now, and they're naturally going to see what's going on in your life, and then they're going to get curious. So then when we get to this week 4 and we start using send, share, invite, it's not so surprising. And who knows, they might even reach out to you before then. Okay, so that is one idea I want to share with you, which is every week, create a new list of 10 to 15 people you want to be social with on social media. Write them out and then pick 2 to 3 a day that you're purposely focusing on, because you can do that in 5 minutes a day. In 5 minutes a day, you could connect on social media. And so the way we schedule our business right now, for most of you, the most important things for you to be doing are relationship development, which is what this is that I'm showing you, and then expanding your network. And then also doing your own posts. Those are the most important things. If you have customers under you or ambassadors, then you need to be doing follow-up. So I'm going to move over to another slide that kind of gives you another idea of what you can do. Okay. So this gal, let's go to this slide. This other gal talked about blocking out time where you can work your business in 5-minute increments. So do you have a 5-minute break at work? Do you have 5 minutes where you're picking up your kids, where you're sitting in the drop-off line, the pickup line, wherever? You can take those 5 minutes to message people, or take those 5 minutes to focus on your 2 or 3 for the day. I have 5 minutes. Where's my list? Okay, I'm going to pick Alicia, Sarah, and Carrie, and I'm going to go into their Facebook profiles. I'm going to look to see if they had any recent posts. I'm going to make a comment. I'm going to like it, and then I'm done. And you can do that in 5 minutes if you know who you're trying to be intentional with. Okay, so that's 5 minutes. And then some other things that you can be doing to nurture relationships on social media is connecting right here, 3 people a day, right? What we've just talked about. Connect with 3. 2 or 3 at least. Depends. Are you going for 10 a week or 15 a week? So you would review their post, and then you would look at their posts. If they comment back, then make sure you comment back with them. Comment on their posts. You can send friends messages. I do this a lot. If they come up in my feed and I haven't talked to them for a while, I might send them a message and say, hey, I really enjoyed seeing whatever the picture was. Give me an update. How are you doing? Because I'm genuinely interested. I always wish people happy birthday. Facebook makes that really easy. If it's a really close friend, I don't use Messenger, I use text. But Messenger is a great way to message people, because when you're messaging with people in Messenger, your posts are now showing up in their feed. And that's why it's so important to consistently post, not just Plexus, but your life in general, because when you're messaging with them, now your posts are showing up in their feed. And so all of a sudden, if you start messaging with them, a few of your posts might show up, and it might be something about your life, and then it might be something about Plexus, which really engages people. And then using the sharing system to reach out, which we will talk more about that part later. For now, I want you all to feel like you have a really good plan for how to work your business at least 5 out of the 7 days a week, and to be consistent. And I mainly use mine with social media because it's how I can see the most people. So what I would encourage you to do, let me see if I have any other posts. Okay, this gal, when she talked about 15 minutes a day, she talked about at the beginning of the week on Sunday, take 15 minutes to make your list. She says focus on 20 people a month. You could do that if you wanted. I would say focus on a minimum of 10 a week, and that would be 40 a month. And then she says reach out to at least 3 people a day. So that's why I'm saying if you focused on 15 people a week, you could be focusing on not so much reaching out to them each day, but being very intentional on their posts each day. Okay, so again, I'm giving you some info that I thought was great. And so your job is to funnel this through what you think works for you. And I will put all these slides in the comments when I post this. Let's see here. So how do you build familiarity on social engagement? We've already kind of talked about that, but comment on people's stories and posts. Stories are a great way. Comment on their stories, comment on their posts, and then see who is watching your stories. This is how I get ideas for people I want to reach out to or be intentional with. If they're watching a lot of my stories, I'm going to write their name down. I'm going to be intentional to connect with them, because a lot of people will watch you but may not reach out to you because they think, oh, I don't want to bug her. But you really want them to bug you. And if you reach out and you just start a conversation, that might open the door for them. And then see who likes and comments on your posts. Those are the things that those are the people you also want to be writing down. And then again, we'll talk about how to use the send, share, invite system with them. But for now, we're not using send, share, invite. We're using how do we get into a daily pattern of connecting and being consistent, okay? Because if you give me 90 days, if you start and you give me 90 days, I bet you in March, you have a little harvest of people joining you. Okay, so here's what I want to do. Let me stop sharing my screen with you guys. Let's stop the share. And now it's just me. Okay, so the way I broke this down for you was in 1 hour. Can you do this 1 hour every day? I really think you can. And I think you can break it up into 15-minute increments. And so the way I thought about this for you guys was, let's break it down into 15-minute increments. So you will spend 15 minutes being social on social media. This is your 15 minutes of scroll time. This is where you just scroll either Instagram or Facebook or both or whatever you're using, and you're commenting, you're liking on anyone who's just showing up naturally in your feed. Okay, this is best done before you make a post. Okay, because it kind of primes your feed and it shows that you've been active. And so Facebook is going to like that, and they're more likely to show your posts to people. So if you're not being social, they're not going to show your posts. They want to see that you're being social with people. So I would spend 15 minutes a day being social with whomever, just scroll your feed. Okay. And then I would spend 15 minutes following up on posts, going and checking your notifications, who liked what, commenting back, and all of that. Okay, so 15 minutes each. So if you have 15 minutes, you know what you're doing. This is my time to be social. This is my time to do follow-up on my posts. Now I would spend another 15 minutes creating your content and then posting your content, whatever it is. Minimally, you should post once a day. You could post twice if you wanted, but for the sake of just being consistent, just post once a day. And what are you posting? You're posting about your life. You're letting people know you, and you're sprinkling in plexus. And I would say sprinkle in plexus once, twice a week. Maybe a testimony, maybe a product you love, your own health story. But we're not using graphics and we're not selling things. We're talking about the story. Okay, so I'd spend 15 minutes creating your content. If you don't know how to brand yourself, talk to me about that, because I can help you brand yourself. And like, what are the things that you're mostly focused on posting about? And so if you watch me, you see that I post about my kids a lot because they're very important to me. I'm always talking about Ryan because he's my husband and he's very important to me. I'll tend to post funny little quips and memes every now and then just about parenthood because I'm a parent and I just think that's fun. You'll see me post about coupon deals every now and then. You will see me post about plexus. You'll see me post about my faith because that's also important to me. What I'm doing about my day. I'm really just trying to let people get to know me through social media, but I am not being opinionated. I'm not whining and complaining, and I'm not trying to show off my life. I'm just trying to be genuine and authentic. Okay, so you have 15 minutes being social. You have 15 minutes following up on posts. You have 15 minutes of creating content. And then the last 15 minutes would be adding friends or expanding your network. So going through like, who they suggest you might know. Scroll through there and see who you might know and continue expanding your network. You can join groups if you want for things that you're really curious about. I'm going to get an Instapot for Christmas, so I might want to join an Instapot recipe group. 15 minutes expanding your network. And so in 1 hour a day, you can begin to use social media for better benefit. And I bet if you look at your like on your phone where it kind of tracks how much time you're using, you would probably see how much time you're mindlessly scrolling Instagram and Facebook. And I want to encourage you to stop that, because all the time you're doing mindlessly scrolling is probably adding up to about an hour where you could be very intentional, and then in 90 days you could have customers and people joining you, and then you could be making some of those goals that you want. So go back. Pick 10 to 15 people that you want to focus on this week or next week. Okay, so for 1 week, I'm going to focus on them. And within my 15 minutes of being social, I'm going to make sure I purposely comment on their posts. But in my 15 minutes of being social, I'm just scrolling, commenting, liking it as it's popping up, but also knowing that I need to make sure to be intentional with the 3 people I've picked for that day to be very intentional with. You're going to spend 15 minutes following up on posts someone liked it or commented or whatever. You're going to spend time doing that. You're going to spend 15 more minutes creating your content. right? You don't need to overthink it. Just just be you. People just want to know who you are, okay? And then spend 15 minutes adding more friends and expanding your network. And within that hour time frame, make sure you're finding time to send your happy birthday messages, or maybe that's a separate thing that you do. Okay, so these are just some ideas to give you a grasp on in an hour a day, 5 days a week. You could even do 7 if you want, but an hour a day for 5 days a week. If you can commit to that for 90 days, I guarantee your business will grow. And if it doesn't, then I owe you some ice cream or something. But I guarantee it'll grow if you can give me 5 minutes a day, an hour a day doing these very specific things. Maybe you don't like social media. That's okay. You don't have to use social media. Pick those people in your life that you want to purposely talk to about it. Maybe it's coworkers. Maybe it's someone's house you're going to this weekend. You can do this however, but I think when we talk about social media, we spend a lot of time mindlessly scrolling, thinking we don't have time to work our business when you do. You do. You have time to do this. And I think if you commit to being more intentional, you'll be pleasantly surprised with the success that you have in 90 days. But you have to commit to doing this for 90 days. Anything short of 90 days of consistency, you're going to be disappointed. So let's work on that. I am going to I'm going to convert this to YouTube, and we're going to actually be watching it and put it on our page. And then below this call, I will put the graphics that I showed you in this recording. And then your job is just to kind of figure out, how does this work for you? How can I do this? Do I have 30 minutes at lunch and I can do 30 minutes of this? The secret is time blocking. The secret is time blocking and getting it done and setting a timer and being intentional. And I know you can do it. So thank you for listening. If you have questions, feel free to, shoot me a message, give me a call. I'd love to talk about this with you and help you figure out how to do it. Talk to y'all later.